All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Bulletproof Dental Practice Podcast. Today, we are graced with a repeat guest, Darren Shaw, owner of Whitespark.ca. And Darren, you were one of the first guests as I was solo on this mission of the podcasting, and now we have Craig, who, by the way, if you guys are watching, or if you're watching this on video, Craig is in the car because he didn't want to miss out on a podcast episode, but he's in the car going to pick up a new car because apparently the guy who delivers cars, he thought it would take a week, and he showed up that same day. So Craig I told him, I was like, dude, you can do this, but you got to be on mute. And so don't be distracted by Craig's exciting life and all the movement. And for full disclosure, he is trying to become more like me, and he is going to get a Ford Raptor. He's getting rid of the little micro car he's in right now and actually getting a man truck. Okay, all right, we see that. We see the Porsche.
Okay, you don't have to say that. By the way, I'm not going to pick it up. It was being delivered from Indiana, so I guess the guy picked it up in a truck like a week ago, and he's driving straight through, and he didn't call me to let me know that it was coming to the house until he's 30 minutes away. But
how many Red Bulls did that guy have to drive that quickly?
I think Red Bull would be an understatement with a trucker coming from Indiana. I think he had a couple. I even think 5-Hour Energy would be an understatement. I think if we tested him, he might have some methamphetamine. But we're going to get to meet him, though.
No, so great. Well, yeah. Listen. Poor Darren. Darren, see, this is what happens when it goes to like joint guests. Like, it just goes to shit. Anyone out there in Podcast Nation, stay solo, like, as a thing, because it was much cleaner, much more uniform. I had prepared questions last time for Darren, and I was very on point. I sent him those 3 days in advance, and now we're like, Darren, let's just talk about what's new. So, Craig, you bring out the surfer in me, apparently. What's up, dude? Just being casual. So, Darren, actually, all seriousness, I do want to talk about the changes that have transpired kind of since, in the past year. Let's say you were probably on about a year ago. And maybe we can talk about the 5 fundamentals that you think are inclusive of what makes great local SEO, since that is your wheelhouse of what you do. And Darren does have lots of dental clients, so he is very, if you didn't hear the first one we did together, he's very well suited to be in talking about. Everyone needs to listen up. Listening there. And welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks. You went really slow and
can you hear me okay?
We'll just leave it like that.
Okay.
But so what's happened in the last year? Well, Google's actually been on.
Yeah, that's because the other funny. Just keep going.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. Google's been on a tear the past year and a half of adding new features to Google My Business. So they've been really ramping up everything in their local space, specifically so they can sell more ads to local businesses. They see a huge market there, and they keep adding new features to Google My Business. They keep adding all kinds of great stuff for small businesses, agencies, just to manage your information on Google better. And some of those things are Google Posts. You might have seen that. That's a big one that came out. So making sure that if someone's Googled your brand, you see these little posts. And they also see it in the Maps app. And so those posts allow you to sort of push some of your content out to people that are searching your brand. There is the Google Q&A. Man, there's so many brands out there that are not thinking about the Q&A right now. So you might get people leaving questions on your Google My Business listing right now, like, hey, what are your hours of operation? Or do you offer this specific service? Do you do Invisalign? Whatever it is. Those questions could be coming in on your Google Q&A, but they don't currently have notifications, so you're not getting notified of that. So it's really important to sort of stay on top of that and see it. Just Google your brand name, and you'll kind of see some of these things, these opportunities for Google Posts. If you haven't logged into your Google My Business account in a while, it's a good idea to get in there and see all of the new stuff that is happening there. So
I mean, I want to actually interject something about this Google, the post, because they're not trying to bring back, like, what was the failed social platform that they had?
Google Plus, and they are not trying to bring that back. This is completely different. Google Plus is a really nice feature, actually. It's not social in any way. It's just that you can kind of promote stuff for free, right, in your Google My Business. You can add multiple posts. Let's say you have an event coming up at your practice, or you just want to promote something. Some people are using it in really smart ways. I've seen people, they'll take some of their best reviews. So if someone left them a really good review, and they'll highlight a piece of text from the review, make that a Google post, and then link it to the review.
That's smart.
So there's lots of smart things you can do with that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So where does that actually show up? On your Google My Business page, or your profile page listing?
Well, that's the tricky thing, but there is no direct listing anymore. You can't just go to like google.com/local/ your practice name. Your listing is actually your branded search results. So if you search, for example, Atlanta Dental Spa, you're going to find that's basically your listing page. So when you see what's called the knowledge panel on the right-hand side, that's your listing, and that's where the Google posts show up. And they'll also show up in the Google Maps app. So if you search for Atlanta Dental Spa in the Maps app, you'll find it there too. So Google
it's funny you mentioned this, because I actually got an email today, and it said, like, hey, everyone liked your last post. You had, I don't know what the engagement was, but it was like 400 people kind of did something with this post that you're talking about. And I should be more versed on it, but it's somewhat new, and I really don't know what to do with it. So I'm glad we're actually talking about it, because I'm sure if I'm confused, then a lot of other people are kind of like either not utilizing it or don't know how to utilize it.
Yeah, I think you have some in-house marketing people that are probably pushing out posts for you. So they will, they expire after a week. So it's important to know that if you put a post up there, it's going to expire within the week. And so you have to kind of keep it going with fresh content. So on Whitespark, fortunately, lately, we've been doing what's called the Whitespark Weekly. So every week I'm pumping out a new blog post and video and audio thing that I do once a week, where I just talk about one local search topic. And so that allows us to feed our Google posts regularly, and it feeds our social channel with new content that we're producing. And so I think it's a great thing for any dental clinic to just keep stuff going. You should be pumping out stuff of some variety, some kind of communication to your clients, and Google Posts is a great way to highlight that.
So would it be the same as like some of the posts you do to your social media, or is it completely different context?
The context is different just because no one's really following you. You don't have any followers of your Google My Business, right? It's really only for people that do a branded search. So it's a way of just highlighting stuff if people search for your brand.
Okay.
Is this trying to resuscitate the like the Google Plus page? Because I know
that's what I asked when you were moving around and on mute.
Sorry.
That's a good question though, because I asked the same thing.
Because that was a total failed social experiment, man. That was a total cluster, right?
It's a funny thing that Google Plus, because I've always felt the same way. That it was this failed experiment. But I have a client in the cabin rental market. He's got a cabin company in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and they kill it on Google Plus. They get tons of engagement. They get people following them, people engaging and leaving comments, and they're doing really well. They work with a company called Steady Demand that manages it for them, and they manage both their social on Google Plus and on Facebook, and they actually get a lot of engagement and interest in Google Plus. There are people there still, and you just have to sort of build up a following, and it's still a viable channel, which is surprising.
All right. It was like a ghost town for me. Every time I post, like, it was like crickets in there for me. So
it would be for dentists. I don't think it's not the best. It's not the best place for dentists.
Wait. Dentistry's not exciting, Darren?
Well, you can put pictures of crowns and all that kind of stuff.
No, because that's exciting.
As like a mega cabin in the mountains with 5 hot tubs and pool tables.
Yeah, vacations always trump dentistry.
Yeah, it's true.
Vacations always trump dentistry. So what would be the steps to doing that, Darren? Like checking in. Someone would log into the Google My Business. Hang on.
Yeah, so you manage all of the posts through your Google My Business login. So when you log in at Google My Business, there's a ton of options on the left-hand side. Now, if you haven't logged in a long time, it's really worthwhile to get in there and see all the stuff you can do now. So you have insights, so that'll tell you how many people have viewed your listing, how many people clicked on your listing, the clicks to call. So if they did it on mobile and they tap the thing to call the number, then it tracks all of that in Google My Business Insights. You have the posts, so you can manage your posts. You have your reviews, you can see all of your reviews and respond to them. I think they're adding a new section for Q&A. You can upload photos, you can edit your information. Another good reason to log in your Google My Business listing is because Google's often changing stuff for you on the fly, and they just change it, and then they're like, hey, we changed something. Is this okay with you? You can revert it, but the change is already live. So it's really important to log in once in a while and keep an eye on what they're doing, because sometimes they'll change your phone number, they'll change your, whether or not you're wheelchair accessible, whatever, all kinds of different attributes they can add to your listing. And sometimes they're dead wrong. So you should really keep an eye on it. If you have a marketing person, or even a lot of dental practices can hand that off to the front end staff, that they can just log in once a week and just sort of see what's happening and put out any new posts. So especially if you're already blogging or you're already doing social, this is just another place to put that same content to get it out there.
Okay.
The other thing, Darren, is that you see Google asking a lot of questions of its clientele. Like every time I Google a business or I see that I'm somewhere, they're like, is this place wheelchair accessible? Does this place have outdoor seating? So it's interesting how they're querying the public for your content as well. So I'm sure that's what they're trying to do, populate that area, correct?
And that's exactly how it comes through. So they're actually asking people, is this wheelchair accessible? If enough people say yes, then it just goes live on the listing. And then when you, as the business owner, log in and Google My Business, you'll see that in there, and it'll say, hey, we made a change to your listing. You can either revert it if you're not wheelchair accessible, but basically they're crowdsourcing all of this additional data that they want to get. And so, yeah, you see it in the Maps app for sure. You'll see it in Google Maps, even on desktop.
Question for you, and this is just anecdotal because no one knows the answer, but if you're active on the posting like we were just talking about, do you think that factors into the prevalence of how much you're shown in local?
It's like a secondary
$1 million question.
I think that actually it can have an impact, and it's a secondary impact. It's not a direct impact. So you add your posts, and that's going to make you rank better. But if you add the post and you're getting more engagement on your listings, I feel like engagement metrics are a thing. They've been proven to be a thing. So adding more photos, adding regular Google posts. Another big thing that recently came out is you can actually add videos to Google My Business now. So in the photo section, you can upload videos. So a lot of dentists have these great videos they've created, but they're not utilizing them on the Google My Business. So put that stuff on there. You get longer engagement metrics on your Google My Business listing. You're going to get, if Google sees that a lot of people are spending time exploring these listings, then that can potentially have a bit of an impact on your visibility and increase your rankings.
Right, and probably on their end too, they see the completeness of the listing. Like there may be some back end metric. They're like, hey, this guy's or gal is 95% completed. He's really committed to the process of the Google posting and the video and all the videos. So let's preferentially either, I don't know, that's just obviously anecdotal because no one knows the answer, but you would think that that's going on hypothetically.
I do think there's a ranking benefit to it. It's that secondary ranking benefit, but more importantly, I think there's an actual conversion benefit to it. So if you are doing that and people are, let's say I'm looking for a new dentist. I just moved to Atlanta. I want to check out the different dentists. And then I start Googling their names. The one that seems active, the one that has great content on their listing, I read these Google posts, it's just it shows me that they're an engaged, active business, and that might compel me to convert with that particular dentist over another one, just because they are active. I guarantee 70% of the dentists out there are not doing this right now. So it's an opportunity, be one of those front runners, get that stuff going, and it can have that secondary effect.
It's a land grab.
Yeah.
For now. So I interrupted you about you. I think that was probably going to be like your number one thing, as we were really talking about like kind of the 5 best practices or 5 components of what a good local SEO would be. And I don't know if you were just kind of leading with that or that was going to be one of your 5, but I had to get my question in, Darren.
Yeah, I think that I was leading with that as sort of like what's new with Google and what's been happening with Google. And that's one of the things, like Q&A, adding videos, Google Posts. Those are some of the new things that they've been adding. These attributes, those are all new things. But the other thing is the second question. So which is, what makes up a good local search strategy? And there's your Google listing. That's one aspect of it, getting that to 100%. The most important thing you do in your Google listing is your primary category. For dentists, it's usually just dentist. But if you do specialize in, you're an orthodontist, for example, make sure that your primary category is accurately reflecting what you do, what you want to drive traffic for. Because if you are an orthodontist and you want, braces clients, then setting it as dentist is not going to help you. So making sure your primary category is correct. So your Google My Business is one aspect of it. There are 5 primary aspects. So your Google My Business listing, getting that squared away and enhanced. Then you have your citations. So a citation is a business listing, like a listing on Yellow Pages or Yelp, even Facebook, Bing. Those are all business listings, more mentions of your business out there on the web. You want to make sure that data is accurate. So if you've moved practices or changed your phone numbers, you want to make sure that stuff is cleaned up on the most important sites. And you want to make sure that you have as many of those listings out there as possible. So roughly when you get to around the 80 listings, you're covered on all those sites, then you're generally in good shape. We have a software on our site called the Local Citation Finder, which will show you which listings you have, opportunities that you can get, that kind of thing. So then after citations, it's reviews. So we could do a podcast on every one of these 5 components. But
yeah,
reviews,
for sure.
Reviews itself, really important. Getting reviews coming in, not just, of course, for the ranking benefit, but also for the conversion benefit. If you're looking at Atlanta dentists, and dentists are usually really good at reviews. It's one of the industries where they're on top of this. They're asking for reviews. They're thinking about it. I know you, Peter, you've been thinking about it for years and years and years, and how those reviews really drive your business. They also drive rankings, especially if you can get people to mention specific keywords in reviews. So reviews is the third thing. Then you've got your website. So your website primarily in local search comes down to your content. How much content do you have? Are you writing about all these topics? If you just have a one little paragraph blurb about each of your services, that's not going to help you rank. Like, let's say you want to rank for Invisalign and you just have one little blurb. Well, the dentist that has like a 5-page awesome article on all the details and nuances and complications of Invisalign, that content is much richer and has a much better chance of ranking than your little blurb and bullet points. And so making sure that you really build out your content can have a huge impact on your rankings. And then links. Links is the hardest part of SEO. How do you get other businesses, other websites to link to yours? And so that's the 5th component. Scholarship or sponsorships is usually the go-to tactic these days for small businesses. So getting involved in your local community, sponsoring 5K events, sponsoring charities, nonprofits in your direct community. Those are golden links. Making sure that you're engaged in that.
Wait, I have to interrupt you.
Yeah,
hey, Darren, real quick. So I do a shit ton of sponsorships. How are you saying, you're saying backlinks from the sponsorship to your site, or is there some specific area of Google that allows you to do a sponsorship plug?
It's specific links from the sponsorship site to your site. So sometimes a lot of businesses are already doing sponsorships. They're engaged in the community just because they believe in the organization. They want to promote that, and they're doing it as a marketing outside of SEO. They're not thinking about the SEO side of it, but there is an SEO side to it that a lot of people aren't capitalizing on, because you've sponsored the event, but you haven't asked them to link back to you. You've got your logo on their website. That logo could be a link, and that link could be providing extreme SEO value for you.
Because they usually have very high page rank, right, Darren?
They often have high page rank, but they have incredible local authority. So the fact that this is an organization in Atlanta linking to your dental practice in Atlanta has a huge impact. So local sponsorships are one of the best ways to get local links, and you can find it so easy. You just go to Google. I'll say it slowly. You type in the search into Google. In title, all one word, INTITLE, colon, sponsors, space, your city. Do that. So in title, colon, sponsors, space, Atlanta, space, Orlando, whatever it is, whatever city you're in, put that into the Google search results. You're going to get a whole list of sites that are, they're basically recognizing their sponsors. And so those all of those pages are opportunities for you to get listed as well.
So when you said in title, not like you're saying in the Google box, in the query box, right? You're saying type in what you said, in title or title?
This is a Google custom query. So you put an in title, INTITLE : sponsors. So you're basically saying, give me all the pages where the word sponsors is in the title.
Ah, okay.
So in their title tag. And so if you do that, you're going to find all of the, like a whole bunch of pages within your city, unless you're a really small city, that you can get these sponsorship opportunities.
Nice. So and that is yeah, that's been something that you gave me a word of advice on years ago, and that really helped a lot. So yeah, to build up, like you said, build up the backlinks from credible domains.
Yeah. And you can even get them from industry-specific domains too, right? Let's say use a specific product in your practice, or you have a specific equipment. They sometimes list their clients on their site, or you could give them a testimonial. Let's say you have this special X-ray machine. You could give the website that develops that X-ray machine a testimonial, and have that testimonial link back to your website. That's an opportunity too for getting some really high authority links. And the nice thing about that, so you've got the sponsorships are going to give you the location-specific links back to your website. And then these are dental industry-specific links that are going back to your website. So you're strengthening both sides of it.
The relevancy. Is that the relevant links that you kind of...
Yes. So that's a relevant link that will help you. Okay, so Google already knows that you are a business that has, you're a dentist and you're in Atlanta. Google knows that. So you want to strengthen those associations by getting links from other dental websites. That's a relevancy thing. And links from Atlanta-specific sites, which is the location-specific thing.
Got it. Okay. All right. So man, it's funny. Every time I talk to you, I think I always think I'm like, oh, I'm not going to learn anything new because I stay current with what Darren does. But like every time I talk to you, I'm like, geez, what am I doing? Like, I must be doing all this wrong.
You're wrong.
It's just constantly changing. Like the damn ball keeps getting pushed further down the field, and like, you're just, it's never a finish line. It's always a journey, right?
That is a good analogy. The ball does keep getting pushed down the field, because if you stop, your competitors are not going to stop.
Right.
So if you don't get any more new links, you did a whole bunch of link building in 2015, and you haven't done any since, then your competitors are on the game. And so now, all of a sudden, there is another dentist that's a lot more prominent than you are, because they've been on top of it. They've been really active in the community. They've been building links. They've been adding new content to their website. They've really been building it up. And so if you sit on your laurels, you could easily fall behind.
All right, keep. This is great. I've gotten some 3 good pearls to take away already. So keep rolling with your 5.
Yeah, I got a new one. I'm going to talk to you about Yelp. Yelp is a massive pain in the butt for every small business, particularly for dentists, I think. And so the thing about Yelp is you're not allowed to ask for reviews, right? So you get in trouble if you say to your clients, hey, we'd really appreciate a review on Yelp. They have a very strict don't ask policy. They just want all the reviews to come in naturally. So, and then it's also of no value to ask. Because if you did just ask all of your patients, hey, can you leave us a review on Yelp? Let's say you sent out a mass email list. What would happen was a lot of them would go to Yelp. They would sign up for an account. They would leave you a review. And then that review would go into Yelp's filter, because Yelp has a very strict filter. The users that leave the review have to be active Yelp users. And so there's no value in just asking everybody. So now you're in this stuck position where you're like, I'd really like to build up my profile on Yelp, but I can't ask for reviews. How do I do it? So dentists are in a great situation. Yelp actively endorses a check-in offer. So you're allowed to promote check-in on Yelp anywhere you go. So you can have a little sign at the front desk that says, hey, check in on Yelp and get X, I don't know, whatever you feel like offering. You get a free toothbrush. I'm sure you're going to give something better than that away. But you can offer something like, you can even offer a discount on services if you check in on Yelp. So what you're going to do then is that anyone that comes into the business that happens to be on Yelp, if you're not an active Yelper, you would see that and you'd be like, well, I I don't use Yelp, I don't care. But for the people that do, they might see that, and they might check in, take you up on the offer, which of course would encourage them to leave you a review. So it's the best way to get active Yelpers to leave you a review. Create a check-in offer, and then don't just put the sign up, put it on your social channels. Hey, maybe even make a Google post about it, put it in your Google posts.
That's a great idea.
Put it in your email newsletter. So make sure you send it out to your email. Hey, check in on Yelp. Anyone that's active on Yelp. And Yelp is totally cool with it. They actively encourage it. They want people to do check-ins.
That's a great idea.
Yelp. And so that's a great way to build up your Yelp profile.
I commonly give you credit. I've done a number of presentations in front of crowds, and actually on here as well, give you credit for I call it the Yelp hack now, where you can kind of type in someone's email and see who's a power Yelper.
Yeah, right.
And then literally gonna go in there and be like, hey, not sure if you're a Yelper or not, but sure would be nice if you could, like, did you have a good experience?
Yeah, don't ask for the review in the email, especially with active Yelpers, because then
not asking for the review, but just like, kind of just playing like, because whatever they post gets posted, doesn't matter what, right? Those power Yelpers can get whatever they want.
Yeah.
But no, not asking per se, but sometimes they're like, oh, at that point they just loved to review,
Sure.
So even if you mention the word Yelp, they're like, oh, I'm going to write a review. Like, great, thanks.
Yeah, well, we should clarify that detail for the listeners. The way you do that is if you just have like your regular Yelp account, you can go into the Find Friends on Yelp. It's on the top there, and you can enter one email, or you can connect it to an email program, like you connect it to your Gmail or whatever. And so what I've seen some businesses do is they'll make a new Gmail account, take their entire client list, a patient list, put it into this Gmail contact list, and then you can run that through the Find Friends on Yelp, and you'll get this big list back of all the people that are active on Yelp.
Wow.
The way that works really well is if you know the person. So let's say it's, most dentists are doing their friends and their family. Those are people that you personally know. If you find any people that you personally know that are active on Yelp, go ahead and ask. They're not going to burn you. But for the rest of them, then you might want to direct them to your awesome new check-in offer.
That's a great tip. That's taking it to a whole new level of creating a new, uploading a patient database with emails and then merging that with the Yelp file. Not Yelp file, but merging it with finding out in the database from Find My Friends.
Speaking of that patient database, this is another thing that you can get Facebook advertising for so cheap, but what are you going to do? Just blast ads to the entire city? I feel like that's largely a waste of time. But blasting ads to your existing clientele is great. I feel like you can do that. You can create a custom segment in Facebook, and then upload your patient database into that, all their emails, and then you're only targeting your existing patient set.
But tell me why you like that, because they're already patients. Like, why do you want to put advertising towards your patients?
Only like new services that you're offering or new things. Like, you've got your patients that are coming in for their regular work, but let's say you have just started offering a whitening service, or you've just started offering something else. Then you can promote that specifically to your group and reach them in a really nice way. Of course, you can email them, but a lot of emails get missed. And so Facebook is a great way, and you can just do it super cheap. It's not
super cheap. I do that, Darren, but I utilize my patient database, but I do it in the context of trying to create a lookalike audience, right?
Yeah, that's nice too.
So I don't advertise to the patients I already have, but you bring up a good point. That's great. That's super cheap, like, awareness to the other services we may do, right? Because the person who's already in our ecosystem is probably the easiest person that's going to enroll in future services.
And I suspect that you have a much higher profit margin on some of these higher level services that you could be promoting to your regular clients. The clients that are your patient, you don't call them clients, do you? They're all patients. So the patients that come in that are getting, the regular cleanups and checkups, that you're not really getting much more out of them. It's a great way to reach them and say, hey, listen, we've got these corrective services and all these kinds of things.
It's a great idea. Wow. Okay, man, that's like the fourth thing. I rarely ever like take copious notes from a guest, not because I have it all figured out, but I love the way your presentation style of kind of firing at all these pearls.
All right, good. Let's see. What else can I give you? What's another pearl for you?
Well, so the Yelp, the reviews we've talked about. What else lives inside of kind of what you think, a sound best practices local SEO platform would be?
Well, I think I really covered the main topics. So your website's a great opportunity to just continue to add new content. If you have a service and that you want to attract business for, and you haven't built a very detailed page on that service, and that's an opportunity for sure. You should really build out that page. Video is an interesting area that a lot of businesses are not tapping into. So if you have a page on Invisalign, then make a video of you talking about it. That actually increases your engagement metrics, and it gives you additional channels so you can put that video on YouTube, for example. And so sometimes you see those videos actually ranking in the search results, right? So if I typed in Invisalign your city, one of those savvy dentists might have created a YouTube video and put it up there. And then so you create the video and then you link to that video from your website, you give it a little bit of a boost, and it can show up in the search results. So it's another way of attracting people. Sometimes they'll gloss over the local pack, or some of these services don't even have a local pack. And so the best way to get attention is a little video in there. Those videos are going to get much higher click-through rate than just a regular web page. And so,
do you see? I'm glad you brought up the local pack. Do you see that changing? It seems like it went from 7 to 3, and someone recently indicated they think it's going to go to 1.
It's not going to go to 1.
Okay. Good.
Okay, let's talk about the local pack. So there's a few things to keep in mind. So it did go from 7. We went from 10 way back in the day. So it had 10, then 7, then to 3. The thing that really happened with the local pack, and maybe a lot of dentists don't know about this yet, is that there used to be one pack for the city. So you type in dentist Seattle, and it would be, you have one pack, and that's like, if you're in the Seattle pack for dentists, then you have a chance of ranking around the whole city. That doesn't exist anymore. Now you rank within a small radius around your actual physical location. So if you are in the south side of the city, you are not, and someone in the north side of the city searches dentist, you basically have no chance of ranking in that local pack because you're just too far away. Google has really tightened the proximity around that local pack, around the businesses. So you can really only rank within about 5 to 10 dentists, because dentists are so saturated throughout the whole city. You know, you're lucky to get to rank outside of a 5-mile radius, and that's where the businesses are really killing it. They really have their SEO dialed in. They have all the citations. They got a ton of reviews. Their website is awesome. They have a ton of links. Those businesses will expand their radius. If you haven't done any of that stuff, you're going to rank within like a 2-block radius. You're not going to really even attract patients outside of, like, within your own neighborhood, just because you haven't dialed that stuff in. It's almost, think of it this way: as a brand new dentist, you're like a tiny little pinprick. And then as you add all the other SEO factors, so you enhance your Google listing, you get lots of reviews, you build out all your business listings, you get some links, you're like growing your size of your business. You're growing the size of your business virtually, so that Google sees you as a more prominent business. And so that radius factor is a huge factor. The way to slightly break out of that factor is with the new local pack ads. So on mobile, if you do a search for dentist, you're gonna see these local pack ads. Local pack ads are a great way of reaching a broader market outside of your immediate location. So
expand on that a little bit. What's mobile pack ads?
Yeah, so the local pack ads, you'll now see a 4-pack. So it used to be a 3-pack, but you can see a 4-pack now because there's one ad. So you'll have an ad right in the pack. And sometimes you see them on desktop too. So Google is testing this on desktop, where they'll throw in one paid listing. And so this is the concern, that over the next few years, we're going to see maybe it'll switch from being, right now it's one additional listing, so there'll be 4 in the pack, 1 paid and then 3 regular ones, but maybe next year we're going to see 2 paid and 2 organic. So they're pushing out the organic. And another thing that could happen is, and I don't really see this in dentistry, but in other industries like locksmiths, plumbers, garage door repair, some of these businesses that are traditionally a little sketchier, a little shadier in some of their SEO tactics, Google has completely replaced the local pack with what's called a home services ads. And so these are a way to get into this program that Google actually vets your business. And so you don't rank at all unless you're one of these Google approved businesses. It's like, if you've ever seen that website Thumbtack. So in a lot of markets, a lot of cities, and a lot of industries, they now have these Google approved home services. And so they call it home services. So I think that that means it wouldn't apply to dentists, but there's There's no reason why Google wouldn't eventually do that. And then they actually just become this like lead. They're selling leads, because what ends up happening is you're like, okay, I want to get a cleaning, and then other dentists have to bid on that job. So the job comes through and the dentist kind of bid on it, and whoever they pick gets the client.
That's the thumbtack you're saying, right?
Thumbtack is a similar type business, but Google.
Oh wait, you're saying that Google could eventually go the way of bidding?
Google has already done that in those markets. So plumbers, locksmiths. Go ahead, type it right now. Type in locksmiths Atlanta. You probably see it.
I'm worried because remember I was telling you before we hit record that they're putting in Google Fiber in my backyard, and so I'm on a mobile hotspot, so I don't want to mess up the bandwidth here. But yeah. Did you try it on that strong Canadian Canadian dial up there?
Yeah, I have pretty good internet.
I'm kidding, dude.
Locksmiths in San Francisco. So Google locksmiths San Francisco, and you'll see this. This is called the home services thing. So there's a little pack above here. These are all Google guaranteed locksmiths. Which actually, if you're looking for a locksmith, this is a good way to go because you can trust them. Locksmiths can be a sketchy bunch. But this is the kind of thing that is coming across other industries, and they've really been expanding this program for the last little while.
So yeah, I want to reach and find out what the guarantee actually means, but I can probably assume that it's look, background checked, insured, locksmith license. Holy cow! So of course, yeah, this is going to happen first in Silicon Valley. But you see it rolling out metropolitan cities in the future. It's
already rolled out. So I think Chicago has it. Tons of cities have it now. It's really rolled out over the last year.
So do you see that going the way of locksmith is pretty binary. Like, do you see that going the way of like dentist?
They call it home services, local services provider. Well, actually, they've changed it to local services provider, which does open them up. But this is just a money-making engine for Google, right? So, hey, if they want to make a bunch of money off dentists, they could do this.
So if someone's wanting, what would we keep our eye out for? Will this become something that is in the Google AdWords platform possibly?
This is a special program you have to apply for to get into. You will hear about it. If it comes into dentistry and they start doing this kind of thing in dentistry, the industry will be a buzz, and you'll pick up on it on some industry blog.
What's this called again, Darren? Tell me.
Well, I feel like I'm giving you the wrong name. I feel like they renamed it. Could be local services ads. Yeah,
local services. Okay. I mean, we can. You don't have to. I won't quote you on it. It used
to be called home services, but I think they've rebranded it to local services.
Local services. Okay. That's pretty fascinating.
But yeah, keep your eye on that. That could come to dentistry. If it did, I'll come back on the podcast. We'll talk about all the nuances of this program and how it's going to affect your practice. But local pack ads are a great way to expand your radius. And so let's say, dentists you can't go and open an office, a clinic in, every zip code in the city. And so you're really stuck with your local market, and that's where you start targeting the organic results. So imagine this, your local pack ad opportunities within about a 10-mile radius around your business. That's where you can attract business from. But everything down below that, these are called the organic results. You could rank in all of those. And so one opportunity you have is to build out what are called city pages, or you could just kind of take that same concept to a neighborhood page. And so you can build out a page that talks about that specific neighborhood. And let's say you have an affluent neighborhood. Your practice isn't in that affluent neighborhood, but you want to attract business from that affluent neighborhood. Then you can build a page that talks all about that area. And dentistry and different kinds of services you can provide in that area, or client or patients that you've helped in that area. That kind of thing would help you to rank in the organic results underneath. So it's a way to drive more business from Google search results into, from outside of your 10-mile radius. So we have a page on our website, how to rank in cities where you don't have a physical location, and which we really break down all the details of how you would build one of those pages. And so you could look that up on the Whitespark website. If you have a blog post for this, and you could add a link to it in the notes in there. But that page will really tell you how to build up one of those pages and how to rank in the organic results under the local pack with one of these pages. And so you can do that. Let's say you're in a suburb or you're in the main city and you want to track from the suburb, then you could build these city pages, which will help you drive more search traffic from those other areas.
So geo-specific, just kind of landing pages essentially, right?
Yeah. So you can't get those in the local pack, but you can get them in the results.
But you're saying that in the local pack, the more you engage, the more you kind of what am I trying to say? Commit to the process of developing content and really expanding your listing and getting reviews and doing all the aforementioned of stuff you talked about. You're saying that your ripple essentially can increase.
It can, and you definitely see it. And you know, I've done some research on this where I have every once in a while you see these crazy outliers where you have like this one business that is ranking very well in a much broader radius. And how did they do that? And so usually when you look at that business compared to another business, you usually see order of magnitude of SEO stuff going on. So more links, more content, more business listings, like more citations. They have more reviews, all that kind of stuff. Another thing, the review thing that can help you, another little tip there is always asking, if you are doing a review ask, you're allowed to ask for reviews on Google. So if you are doing a review ask, coaxing them a little bit to mention the specific service they had, that is helpful because then they might say dental cleaning, or they might say crowns, or they might say something, and those keywords in your reviews can really help you to rank better for those terms in a local pack. So it's another way to sort of broaden your radius. If someone's looking for crowns or something, or a dentist that specializes in, chipped teeth or something, right? So if someone mentions that, hey, I went in there for a chipped tooth and the dentist and Dr. Peter Boulden really fixed me up, then that kind of stuff can help you rank better for chipped tooth because they mention it in the review. So always kind of directing them a little bit to mention the specific service when you do the review ask can help.
That's another great tip there. Okay. Anything else that you think that would be a worthwhile mention, Darren, that we haven't discussed already?
As soon as I get off this call, I'll probably think.
Yeah, you're right. You'll think of something.
10 new things that I should have mentioned. But it's
one thing I do want to encourage people to do is get on your website, and I'm giving you a shameless plug because you really have a lot of cool free tools on your site that have helped me over the years with just even the review process of how to ask for it the correct way. And it used to be that it wouldn't show up on mobile very good, and you have this link creator or link generator. I don't know what that's super cool. Yeah, that's been helpful. You have your own review software. I'm not giving the right terms, but like kind of software as a service, like a review aggregator system. Explain it, Darren. What is it called?
Reputation Builder. So
Reputation Builder.
Called the Reputation Builder, and it's a really smart way to do the review asks. Where, let's say you uploaded your patient list, all your emails, then it would send out emails like 10 per day, and it would have a simple question, which is, how would you rate your experience with dental practice? Then if they rate you a 7 or higher, then it's going to funnel them to a page that says, great, we really appreciate it. We'd love your feedback on one of these review sites. And you can list whichever ones you want. So you can put Google or Facebook or Yelp Pages or Yelp. You can't put Yelp, actually. Yelp made us remove that. But
shocker.
You can funnel people to the review sites. And then anyone that rates a 6 or lower, you funnel them to a feedback form. So anyone that didn't have a great experience, you're going to collect that information internally. So it's important just to ask your clients, your patients, how was your experience? And anyone that had a bad experience, you want to know that. If you don't ask, you never know, right? And so you're going to collect all that very valuable business intelligence on how you can improve your practice. And people that had a good experience, you're going to be pushing them to review sites. And so not only does it do that, it also monitors reviews. So every time you get a review, it'll send you an alert. It has a nice dashboard where you can see all your reviews coming in, sort of keep track of everything in one place. And you can sort of rate, if you have multiple locations, you can kind of compare and contrast them, see which one has the better NPS score. That rating between 1 and 10 is called the Net Promoter Score. It's basically how likely would you be to recommend our practice to a friend or colleague. So that question, that's the one question that's supposed to really get at the heart of how well you're doing. And so by by collecting that data, you really get to see how well you're doing, and you can trend it against other similar businesses in your industry and see how you're doing. So
yeah, that's a cool piece of software, and I like to have a lot tighter control over it. But I will say that when I looked into your service, kind of as evaluating other people, I mean, our industry has stuff that charge like 5 times what you're charging for your software service.
Yeah.
And it does superior options. So again, I encourage our listeners, the value proposition is for sure there. So check it out. It's Whitespark CA, and I'll have it in the notes. But Darren, anyway, you're a scholar and a gentleman. I appreciate you for coming on. I don't want to dilute the value of what you've gotten here on my notepad. I don't want to keep just going on, because you've given some huge takeaways for us once again. And I appreciate you taking the second time to come on and discuss. And thank you for that, because this podcast has grown by leaps and bounds, and it's honestly been through providing value by people like yourself. So I appreciate you taking the time, the family time away, and helping us out.
Well, thanks, Peter. I appreciate those kind words. It's fun to talk about this stuff, and it's nice to catch up with you.
You too, pal. Take care, Darren. Thanks so much, man.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. See ya.